This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to Coffee with Kenobi's CWK Live every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Z, excited to be talking some Star Wars with each and every one of you in our amazing Star Wars community. Now, of course, as you may have heard, we've had a lot of stuff going on this week at Coffee with Kenobi already, and it's only Monday night. But Monday night is our night to get together to chat, to talk about some Star Wars. Minta is here. Mary is here. Hello, everyone. Ross is here. Blake. Hello, Blake. Terry is back. Good to have you back, my friend. Daniel is here. Hello, Daniel. And Jason is here sporting some really cool brand new Enzo Star Wars rings, by the way. So if you haven't seen that, go to our CWK Cafe Facebook group. Find out all about it. So a lot of surprises this week. And of course, our favorite little buddy, Mason Z, is here. Hello, Mason. Awesome. All right. So this week, a lot of stuff's been going on at Coffee with Kenobi, and we're only getting started. So if you may have heard, this morning there was a surprise Coffee with Kenobi. Usually we do the top 5 of the Bad Batch. And then later that week we get a much more in-depth look. But this week we did it the opposite. Because this week on CWK, I actually had Ming-Na Wen, the voice of Fennec Shand, on Coffee with Kenobi. I was very fortunate to be a part of a media virtual conversation. There were a number of Star Wars fan sites, including myself. And I got to talk to Ming-Na Wen, of course, who's Fennec Shand in not only the Bad Batch, but the Book of Boba Fett and naturally the Mandalorian. I also talked with Jennifer Corbett, who is the head writer and producer, and Brad Rao, who's also a producer on the show. That is at the beginning of this week's Coffee with Kenobi, which came out this morning. And then myself, Andrew Harrison, and Tom Gross gave a much more detailed look at the episode, which I know we're going to break down here tonight. Tonight is going to be a fun show. Naturally, it's going to be our top 5 moments from the Bad Batch episode, Bounty Lost. So did you get a chance to hear my interview with Ming-Na Wen, Jennifer Corbett, and Brad Rao? I'd love to hear your feedback on that. But that's not the only exciting thing that's going on. We've got the live show tonight. We released the podcast this morning. And then tomorrow night, I've got so many questions about this and so much excitement about this. Even people who don't normally listen to Star Wars podcasts are excited because tomorrow night, June 29th at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, you can tour Galaxy's Edge with me live on Facebook. Experience the sights and sounds of Batuu. Who here is going to join me? I'm very excited about it. Of course, we'll be here. It will also be on YouTube and later on Instagram. But there will not be an audio version of this one. This is only going to be the video when I do it. And I've also got a couple of major announcements live from Galaxy's Edge tomorrow night that I'm going to share with everyone. Very excited about that. The only way to find out is to tune in tomorrow or hopefully catch the replay. But there will be no audio of the live show from Galaxy's Edge. That's just going to be for people checking it out. Ross hasn't listened to it yet, but he's looking forward to it. Ross, you're going to love it, buddy. Josh, good to have you, my friend. Josh has a filing deadline, but we'll try it. Josh, we'll definitely save it for you live or on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube later. Jamie is here. Jamie, the star of this week's CWK Alliance Spotlight Show. We had a lot of fun with our good friend Jamie, and he came up with a great topic. He said, why don't we do our top 5 months? And we weren't sure what that meant. And then he explained it to us. You know, different months have different feelings. There's nostalgia, there's memories, there's weather, there's sports, there's different events that happen. So what are your favorite months? So Jamie, me, Corey, and Tom talked about it. It was a great show. So if you remember the CWK Alliance at www.coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance, you can hear that or watch the video. How long will the video be? Well, Terry, that's a good question. I'm guessing 45 minutes to an hour, most likely, depending on how much we walk around and what we see, what's going on. I'm hearing that Orlando's going to have a lot of weather, rain this next couple of days, so hopefully that won't be a problem. I'm going to be walking around no matter what, so that'll be fun. So that's not the only thing. Besides the WDW Walt Disney World Live tomorrow, on Wednesday, if you're in the Orlando area, at 7 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time at Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar, Disney Springs, you're going to have a Coffee with Kenobi meetup. This is the Indiana Jones themed bar. It's got a great food, appetizers, and a lot of fun drinks. I know Mary Purdue's going to be there. I'm looking forward to meeting Mary for the first time. Blake is still going to try and be at Disney Springs on Wednesday. We're permitting. Blake, we are pulling for you, my man. If it doesn't work out, no worries. But hopefully it will. Hopefully the force is with us. Aaron Harris and David Motters from Star Wars Reactions are going to be there. A lot of our friends are going to be there. So I'm really, really looking forward to that and hope to see you all there. I'll certainly be talking about it later on Coffee with Kenobi and certainly on CWK Prover. So I guess that's what's brewing. I didn't forget to play the little intro. That's okay. So he says, Mary says, Blake, you should play hooky, so you should come. So now, Blake, I'm used to writing passes. I have a lot of authority and autonomy at school as an educator, but I don't think I can write you a pass to get out of work. But hopefully it will all work out. Maybe Mary does. I don't know. Mary's taught longer than me, so maybe she does. We shall see. All right, so I think we need to look at our top fives. Again, your top 5 favorite moments tonight from the Bad Batch episode Bounty Lost. I certainly have a lot of hot takes on this one. Blake says FedEx gives no passes. Well, that's true because I need to get my Star Wars stuff that I ordered, Blake, from FedEx, so I understand that. We're going to, again, talk about top 5 moments from Bounty Lost. Let's go ahead and dive right into this. An interesting episode. Personally, I like last week's better. And I felt like this episode, the title gave away a lot of stuff. I talk about that a lot on Coffee with Kenobi this week. So again, be sure to listen. You've also got, again, Ming Na Wen on there briefly, Jennifer Corbett and Brad Rao. A lot of good conversation. But let's talk about our top 5s. My number 5 from Bounty Lost is... You lack experience to be going against me. And this is a quote from Cad Bane when he's getting ready to fight with Fennec Shand. I don't know what I was expecting with this fight, but the fact that Cad Bane is strutting his stuff and saying that, really peacocking, to be honest with you, is interesting. And the first time I watched it, I just thought he legitimately meant it. And then I watched again, and I thought, I wonder if he's actually a little worried. I don't know. I mean, she's obviously the young up-and-comer, and he's the very much veteran experience. He outdrew Hunter, so we know that he's dangerous. But it's just a really cool, very much a bravado line. Obviously, he was wrong. He was very wrong. But still, I just like the bravado and the excitement. I love Cad Bane. I think he's a fascinating character. Let's see if the rest of you have. Number 5 for Terry, the mystical atmosphere and scenery. I love that too, Terry. And by the way, it's great again to have you back on the show. We certainly missed you, friend. Mary's said number 5 is Omega fixing Toto and their interactions. That was fun. I like the psychology of that one a lot. Number 5 for Ross, Omega climbing down the side of the ladder with her hands in binders on her way to the escape pod. Could be very trivial, but I see it as another example of how quickly she picks things up and adjusts on the fly prior to jumping on Toto 360. Continued in his number 4. All right, that's what we call a teaser to the next one, right? Jason's number 5. Fennec Shand versus Cad Bane, a great toe-to-toe battle between 2 fierce bounty hunters. An epic one that I'm going to be talking about a lot tonight for sure. Blake, the reunion of Omega and the Bad Batch at the end. Well, I wish I got more growth from the group. So far in the show, seeing how Hunter and Wrecker have grown so close to Omega is great. I agree with you on all those points, dude. All those points. But yeah, I think it's going to be worth the wait. And Zach, what's up, Zach? Zach is here. Awesome. Josh says that Bespin feeling it. We got that a lot, didn't we? The atmosphere, the cloudiness, of course. Minta's number 5, Omega helping Toto, of course, definitely. And then Jamie, Fennec Shand's lines being read and recorded from a closet. Yeah, that was what she revealed on when I asked her the question I did about voice work versus live action. And she had some very interesting things to say about the production, especially during COVID-19. Fascinating stuff. Number 5 for Daniel. I am still thrilled by the ships and cinematography. So much depth. Oh, I should have put Cad Bane's ship as one of mine. I love Cad Bane's ship. I don't remember seeing it quite like that. Almost looks like a modified Ghost. Really cool. Number 5 for Mason. And it's more of an observation. He says, Fennec Shand may be a better fighter than Cad Bane. And that was cool for him. It was cool for me. And we were really surprised and impressed by it. So Mason pointed that out. This is number 5. I think it's a really good one. All right, let's go ahead and jump into number 4. Number 4 of our top 5s of this episode, Bounty Lost. Number 4 for me is the fight choreography. There's a lot of fighting with blasters, close range, fisticuffs, some grappling, some stunt work, and it's all animation. But the fight choreography is absolutely outstanding. They continue to raise the bar on that big conference call that I was a part of. They talked a lot about how hard they worked on the fight choreography, and I think it really shows. It really pays off here. To me, it's excellent stuff. All right. Let's see. Zach's number 5. The new animation in the show is simply amazing. The smog and the water clone fluid. Ooh, good call. Ross says, go Fennec. I know she's one of your favorites. Terry's number 4. Lama Su's revealed intent for Omega. Yeah, that was kind of shocking, really. Number 4 from me to the Bad Batch and Omega reunion, similar to what Blake had for his number 5. I think that was neat. Definitely. Number 4 for Ross. After riding Toto 360 to the ground towards the escape pod, Omega indeed tucks and rolls as she hits the ground. This is a lesson Fennec Shan taught her in episode 4, Cornered. Ooh, good catch, dude. Mason's going to like that one, too. That's a really good catch. Number 4 for Jason. The setting of the abandoned cloning facility. Eerie clouds and silence. A great backdrop for a bounty hunt and for Omega's reflections on her nature as a clone. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Blake. Seeing how diverse the morals of the aliens on Kamino are. Some on Omega dead and some care gives more depth to them. Yeah, just seeing that there's some... They're not all the same. I mean, they make clones, but they don't have to act like clones. And we actually saw some differences there. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. Mary's number 4. Force 99's reaction to Tech, revealing Omega being a pure first-generation clone and realizing the Kaminoans being the ones who put the bounty on her. Ooh, yeah. That's, like we talked about, that's really neat stuff. Interesting that there's some different points of view and observations. It's good to see they're not all the same. Josh says, we had a long discussion on how to prosecute the Prime Minister. I feel like that would be an interesting one, Josh. For sure. Legal Geeks is fascinating, a great production value. So thank you for what you do, Josh. It gives us a lot of food for thought. Daniel, the interaction between Toto and Omega, I feel sorry for him, then changed my mind. Yep, I was the same way. I felt sorry for him. I felt bad. He clearly is in a relationship that is toxic. With Cad Bane, per se, although relationship is certainly not the right term. And at the end, because he continues to pursue Omega, I didn't feel sorry for him anymore. Agreed. Jamie's number 4. Jumping on Toto. Omega's bravery is something else, isn't it? She's really impressive. I really think she's a cool character, and I like how much my son Mason likes her, too. Mary says, Ross, I said exactly the same thing to my son when Omega did her tuck and roll. Really? Look at that. That's cool. I don't know why I didn't catch it. That's neat. Zach's number 4. The old abandoned station gives me Jurassic Park Lost World vibes and makes me want to watch it, read more on how that all went down. I agree, Zach. I totally agree. That was very, very cool. The atmosphere was terrific. Number 4 for Mason is Fennec Shan versus Cad Bane. His 5 was the realization that she might be better, but just the whole fight in general, everything that happens. I think there's 3 times where one of them or both of them get knocked out, but they continue to come back for more, and they're quite a tandem, those two. It was really, really cool. So that's number 4, similar to my number 4. Number 4 for Mason, Fennec Shan versus Cad Bane. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 of our top 5 favorite moments from Bounty Lost. Number 3 for Fennec is Fennec taking out Bane. The fact that she beat him, I realize all my 3, 4, and 5 are all pretty much the same, or different angles of the same idea. But the fact that she's able to take out this really, really tough, really, really hard to beat or even think about going up against is pretty interesting. And the fact that it happened the way that it happened, the fact that she outwits him and disables his ships, we can't escape. He's clearly frustrated. But I think deep down inside, well, I don't know for sure if he actually would admit this, but she's more than a match for him. It's not like she got lucky. She beat him in a number of different ways. And I thought that was really interesting, which makes her defeat in season 1 of The Mandalorian even more frustrating. And actually, Ming-Na Wen talked about that in the conversation. But still, she's got a lot to offer, and it'll be really cool to see her in the Book of Boba Fett, for sure. All right. Number 3 for Terry. Fennec's job to protect Omega revealed. I like that as well. Minta says, the true reason why the Kaminoans want Omega back, this was truly shocking and also heartbreaking. It's hard to comprehend what's going on in her head. Yeah, it really is. It really is. That's got to be a lot to have to deal with. Ross. Nala say hiring Fennec Shan to keep Omega from Lama Su. It leads to the death of Taun We, but that doesn't seem to impact the chief medical scientist Walt seems to act as a protective mother towards Omega. I agree, Ross. We talk about that a lot on Coffee with Kenobi this week. There's certainly a lot of very clear indicators of that, I think. Not that she's her mother, but there's definitely some protection there. Jason, Omega's character development, refusing to be intimidated by Cad Bane, the mixture of trickery and a sincere desire to help by fixing Toto 360. Let me get that back. And the revelation of her origin as an unaltered clone from Jango Fett. Yes, who they called him Alpha. Alpha. Boba Fett is considered the Alpha, and Omega. Hello, if you know your Greek, Alpha Omega. Interesting stuff there. Let's see. Mary, number 3. Omega taking control of her own destiny and rescue from tricking Toto to get into that flight pod. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one as well. She's just a cool character, like we keep saying. Blake's number 3. Just the animation. Have we ever seen fog and lighting look so good for TV cartoons? You know, Lucasfilm animation, I think, is very underrated. I mean, Pixar and Disney Studios naturally get attention, and they should. They're the ultimate. They're the ultimate level, the pinnacle of animation. But Lucasfilm is getting to a place where they deserve to be mentioned in that same breath because of what they're doing with the show in the last season of Clone Wars, I think. Zach, number 3. Let's see. Bane is great, but has lost his touch with getting older, but he still wants to be the top bounty hunter, but there's fresh blood, and Bane might see this. Ooh, interesting. Interesting observation, Zach. Number 3 for Daniel, how Omega was able to start up the cloning facility and the overall creepiness of that room, especially when the Kaminoans fell onto Fennec, and the green emoji you have is a perfect one because of that eerie atmosphere. Again, it very much channels the original Alien to me. A lot of stuff that happens in this series, so that's a good catch. And Mary says, yes, thanks to Joel Aaron. Exactly. Joel Aaron is a master. Josh says, the haunted house feeling was pretty awesome with the chase, fight, and escape. Ooh, haunted house. I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's a good comparison. Number 3 for Mason is kicking that thermal detonator. There's this great fight moment where Cad Bane throws his thermal detonator and Fennec Shand jumps and kicks it right back at Cad Bane. It was a really cool ooh-ah moment for us. We're just like, whoa, look at that. That was good. Came up a lot in our Coffee with Kenobi conversation this week as well. So that's Mason's number 3. Let's go ahead and jump into number 2. Number 2 for me. I'm saying to get this on the screen. Omega tricks Toto 360. So there's about 2 or 3 interactions that the two of them have. She wants to help him with his leg. Clearly, Cad Bane is not going to. The fact that she outwits him and uses his own game against him and weighs in on the pride and, you know, just her being a charming, nice person anyway. But she did help him. I mean, she disabled him so that she could escape, which, of course, but she did help him too. She's just a great character. I mean, really, she's very unique. I'm surprised how charmed I am by her. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. Ross got a great Funko Pop of her from Target too, I believe. Ross is number 2. Speaking of, Tech dropping the bomb on his fellow Bad Batchers that Omega is from pure Jango Fett DNA, and that Boba is technically her brother. Then Hunter explaining it to Omega after she's reunited with them. Filoni mic drop. That was a neat thing. Especially when Echo says, Hunter, you've got to tell her. You feel the emotion there. It's good. Number 2 for Terry is... Oh, sit still. There you go. Is knowing Bane can be defeated. I always thought he was near invincible. Yeah, and I think that was important. Otherwise, there's no worry. And it's cool the way they made that happen. Jason's number 2. I'll say choosing Omega's life and well-being over treating her like Kaminoan property. Total props to her for that. Minta's number 2. Omega taking control of her own rescue. Ooh, just like Leia. How about that? I hadn't thought of that angle, Minta. Good point. Number 2 for Mary, the Bane Shand fight. I was a little concerned about what was going to happen to Bane. We know Shand survives. We don't know the end of Bane's story. Such great animation in this fight. Agreed. Number 2 for Blake. Fennec versus Cat. I'm a sucker for amazing fight choreography, and to see mind-blowing fights in animation is pure beauty. Agreed. Tricks and does not lobotomize Toto was impressive restraint. Yes, and she's so interesting because she's almost a perfect character in a way because of how she balances things. I would like to see more of an internal struggle from her that isn't from outside, but something from within. And hopefully we will see that because I think she's a character that deserves that kind of exploration. And based on what Jennifer and Brad told us, I feel like that is certainly something that will continue to evolve. And I'm looking forward to that. Daniel is number 2. The reuniting of the Bad Batch team really touching when Omega touched her head to Hunter and whimpered. Yeah, I know. And that was really something. He like looked at her and he just gets down on eye level, but he doesn't give her a big hug. And I don't know. I thought that was weird. I mean, Wrecker certainly did, but I talk about that again on the show too. I promise this isn't a commercial for the regular podcast. It just keeps reminding me of stuff because we recorded it yesterday. Jamie, have to go with the fight scenes as well. The effort to produce this through animation is so impressive. Wouldn't you love to see how they did this, how they choreographed it? I wonder if it was some motion capture, just really good animation. I don't know. Zach, number 2, the fact that Boba is the alpha is mentioned, super pumped. That was cool. Not a surprise either. We've seen how he fights, and it's kind of neat that later Fennec Shand is going to team up with Boba Fett. Now she's trying to capture Omega. Very interesting. Very interesting. Number 2 for Mason is he wrote Jango Fett mention. That was the first thing he wrote down. I mean, just the mention of Jango Fett is so cool to so many of us, especially my son Mason, who loves Jango Fett. So that was his number 2, just hearing the name Jango Fett. So that's a good call. All right, it is time. I wish I need to add like a drum roll like on here, because this isn't the same as leading up to number 1. So I'm going to have to look for one of those. Number 1 here for me is the thermal detonator kick. This was mentioned earlier. I know Mason mentioned this is number 3. That's my number 1. It's just a very simple one. Usually I try to pick up things that are number 1. They're a little more thought-provoking, but it's just a really cool moment. Again, Cad Bane throws the thermal detonator. She jumps up sideways, kicks it, goes back, the explosion goes off. It ends up besting him temporarily. It was just a really cool thing that I didn't expect. So bravo, again, to the fight choreography. Number 1 for Minta. Bane versus Fennec. It was amazing how she was able to end the fight quickly, and then she was able to hold her own against him. Definitely. Ross, that noise was like Poe's flashlight in the tunnel. Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. Terry, the choreography of the fight scene between Fennec Shand and Cad Bane performed as well as any live-action fight. I agree. In fact, I forgot it was animation. It was so crisp and so smooth. Let's see. Jason, the genuine concern among the batch when Omega contacted them. 4 battle-hardened soldiers caring so deeply about a child. Their emotional return at the end of the episode. Hunter's response when Omega yells, "Hunter, I need you." Just so moving. It really was. Ross, the epic fight between Cad Bane and Fennec Shand. Multiple rounds, weapons, and hand-to-hand combat. Then a strategic chess match. Bane is annoyed, then frustrated, then angry as Fennec keeps building a name for herself. Yeah, and this may be a big reason why. Mary, so number 1, the reunion with Omega and the team. Then the tough discussions she has with Hunter, how much they've all become a family, and what they will do to keep her safe. Dun, dun, dun. We are very geeky. We had a long talk on why the lab was abandoned. Did the client not pay? Was there a war? I think there was a war. The Galactic Civil War. I guess we'll find out. Blake, or maybe it's part of the Clone Wars. Good idea, Josh. Blake says, Boba being mentioned. I hope he shows up in the show. I want to see him and his sister together. Plus, it's great marketing for Book of Boba Fett. Good call, man. I like that. You should get with the Lucasfilm PR team. Daniel, that insane tussle between Bane and Fennec. I was on the edge of my seat and just as real as live action. Agreed. Again, the choreography, the crispness of it, the smoothness of it. You forget you're watching animation. Minta has an honorable mention, the mention of Jango Fett and the connection between Boba and Omega. Number 1 is Mason has Omega and Shand and the skill that Omega has. The fact that she's able to do certain things after watching Fennec Shand do them. And it's just cool. Just seeing Mason has long had this theory that Fennec Shand is like the Taskmaster. So from the Marvel Comics line and in the upcoming Black Widow movie. So that's cool. We've seen that in the trailers and can't wait to see how that pans out. Can't wait to see what's going to happen with Omega. So Josh is maybe an older war like Back to the Great Republic. Perhaps. It'd be interesting to see. I bet that stunk too, by the way. That green ooze. No thanks. All right. So again, yes, next Monday is our normal Facebook Live, but I really, really hope you're all going to join me tomorrow, June 29th at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as I'm going to walk around Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Very much looking forward to that. Zach's number 1 was the turmoil with the Kaminoans and the downfall. They were losing their contracts and how they were breaking down. Yeah, it ends up being about money and pride. Imagine that. It's usually a major breakdown for stuff. Next week's top 5, of course, is going to be top 5 moments from episode 10 of The Bad Batch. That's what we're going to look at next week. And let's see, let me check the calendar. I don't know when the 4th of July is. When is the 4th of July? Well, it's on the 4th. Well, it's on Sunday. Okay, so that's not really going to affect anything. So I'm pretty sure that will work out just fine. I will be traveling that day, but I'm pretty sure I'll be home for Facebook Live. I don't think that's going to be a big problem. So yeah, we'll look at that. But as I said a few moments ago, be sure to join me tomorrow for a bonus Facebook live from Galaxy's Edge and Disney's Hollywood Studios. I can't believe I'm sitting here tonight in my Coffee with Kenobi studio, and then next week, I'm sitting here in the Coffee with Kenobi studio, and then next week, what? Let me try that again. I'm sitting here in the Coffee with Kenobi studio, and then tomorrow at Facebook Live, I'm going to be at Hollywood Studios. It's a pretty cool feeling when you know that the next day you're going to be at Galaxy's Edge. And what's great about it is that you all get to join me. We're all going to go together. It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. Am I packed? Yeah, Daniel's excited about tomorrow night. I am too, my friend. Mary wants to know if I'm packed yet. I am packed. Got all my electronic stuff ready. Got everything else ready to go. After this, I'm going to spend some time with my beautiful wife and Mason. And yes, I'm ready, man. I am fired up. I'm very, very excited. Total kudos to my wife, Deanna, by the way, for juggling everything in the last couple of days so I can get some last minute stuff ready, getting all the shows ready for this week and next week, and lots of other stuff that we're going to announce tomorrow night. So very, very excited. So thank you again, Deanna, for making this happen. I love you so much. Doesn't happen without you. Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and let's see. He says, yeah, Chris says, your old stomping grounds at the studios. That's right, my friend. What is up? That's right. I'm very excited about going back to the studios. It's great. It's great. Yeah, and just less than hours. Jason's calling shotgun. Move to Florida like I did. You can do it all the time. You know what? If it wasn't insanely hot and I could actually move my house there, I would consider it. Mary's excited. Yes, less than 24 hours. Crazy. Yeah, get this. My flight leaves here at 6 a.m. So I got to get up like at 3 something to get to the airport and get everything all squared away. So, wow, say a prayer for me, but I think it'll be okay. The adrenaline's going to be flowing. I'm going to be ready to go. Let's go ahead and jump into Ask Dan Z. It used to be MGM Studios. Man, so good to have you here, Chris. So cool. Love it. Yep. Ask me what you want to ask me. Anything about Galaxy's Edge tomorrow. Anything about Coffee with Kenobi, podcasting, Star Wars. Is a lightsaber behind you from Galaxy's Edge? Yes. I've got Leia's from The Rise of Skywalker. I've got the Skywalker lightsaber from The Rise of Skywalker that's been mended. Down here is Luke's from Return of the Jedi. So all those 3 are from Galaxy's Edge. Yes, I have 3 of them. It has been too long. It's really cool to see you here, my friend. Really cool to see you. Be sure to send me a message on Facebook and let me know how you're doing so we can catch up. Blake says, what's your favorite ride at Epcot? The best Disney park ever. By the way, I don't disagree. Epcot is wonderful. Deanna and I love it. It's a great place to go for date night. We'll get like appetizers in one country. We'll get drinks in another country, have dinner, dessert. We'll just kind of walk around. Just great. I love Epcot. So my favorite ride there, honestly, Soarin'. It's Soarin'. Of course it's Soarin'. But if I had to pick a second one, it'd be Spaceship Earth just for the classic nature and the construction of it. Let's see. Minta wants to know about my thoughts on Harrison Ford accent. My thoughts on Harrison Ford accent is that he's in his 70s and he's working so hard in a fight sequence that he hurts his shoulder. Of course it's going to happen. Harrison Ford got injured in Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, The Force Awakens. He's gotten injured on sets before because he's so tough and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty, even in his 70s. So I say bravo, my friend. And everybody knows how much I love Harrison Ford, my close personal friend. And I think they're going to make the schedule work so we can get back into it because he's great. He's just absolutely great. And let's be real honest on this. If people out there criticize him for being too old, that's ageism. Let the man do his thing. He's one of the best actors of all time. We love him. He's awesome. He's Indiana Jones. I can't wait to see it. And Coffee is going to be talking Indiana Jones definitely over the next year for sure. Window or aisle? So when I'm by myself, I usually go by the window and hope that no one sits next to me. Otherwise, there's a little bathroom thing. Oh gosh, I got to get up and step over the sleeping person I don't know, stuff like that. But normally I don't mind the aisle at all, especially when I'm with my family, so they can enjoy that stuff. Does Docs post an inventory somewhere? Or do I just need to be there to see what's available? You need to see what's available there, Terry. But I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures and a lot of video and a lot of live stuff on Instagram as well. If you're not following Coffee with Kenobi on Instagram, I suggest that you do that ASAP because I'm going to have so many pictures, so much video, so much Galaxy's Edge content. I'm going to be bringing you so much stuff. I really want you to feel like you're there with me. And this is the best way, I think, to do it right now. So let's see. Darren wants to know, hello, Darren, welcome to the show. Do you have a favorite restaurant in Hollywood Studios? Hollywood Studios is probably not my favorite of the 4 parks for restaurants, but there are some gems there. I mean, Brown Derby is great. That's actually where Bob Iger and George Lucas introduced the idea and made the plan to sell Lucasfilm to Disney, and it's really great. If you like Cobb salad, it's supposed to be some of the best you'll ever have. The food is good. The steak is good as well. And then I also like the Hollywood Primetime Cafe, where when you're eating there, you're supposed to be like you're in a 50s sitcom. And if you put your elbows on the table, they yell at you. And then like if you don't eat all your food, they use like a fork and make you clean your plate. So I like that one as well. Did I watch the Kiss Story on A&E? Love the backstage footage without the makeup. You know what? I watched about a half hour of it. And then got busy getting ready for tomorrow and the next couple of days at Galaxy's Edge. So I didn't, but I've got it recorded. I can't wait to watch it. I've been re-listening to the original Kiss album because of the first half hour of the episode. I loved it, man. It's so cool. Have you been able to incorporate the sequels into your teaching regiment? Or do you use more of the original prequel and animated content? Chris, the answer is yes. All of it. I try to use all of it. I use a lot of Mandalorian. The prequels certainly, especially because a lot of my students really relate and respond to the prequels. The animated stuff, just some fun filler so far. I really want to dive into some of the Clone Wars stuff, especially Mortis, I think might be insightful and interesting. But I didn't quite get there yet. But that's the great thing. Every semester I reinvent it and look at different things because it's more interesting, I think, to do it that way. All right, great questions, everybody. Remember that we've got a lot of stuff going on this week. Let me turn that up. I feel like that's kind of quiet. There we go. So again, we've got 2 big things coming in the next couple of days. We've got Coffee with Kenobi came out today. Looking at my interview that I had with Ming-Na Wen, Jennifer Corbett, and Brad Wow. Of course, you've got Facebook Live here. You've got Facebook Live tomorrow again from Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Normally, I put Central Time, but this is Eastern Time, and so it will be 5 o'clock Central Time as well. You've got the meetup. I hope to see all of you there. Blake, looking at you, brother. Wednesday, June 30th, 7 to 8:30 Eastern Time at Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar at Disney Springs. And then, of course, I'm going to have a show on Thursday where I'm going to be talking with all of you about Indiana Jones. I've got Jason Fraley from WTOP. He's someone I've admired for a long time. I'm going to talk about the legacy of Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's coming out on Thursday. Plus, all week, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, pictures, video, information, news, and announcements from Galaxy's Edge. Going to bring you so much content. I'm very, very excited about it. Did I catch the patch on Cat Bane's head supposedly from its deleted Bad Batch artwork? I did. Yeah, and they actually talk about that in the interview I was in. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Terry, great show. We'll be looking at tomorrow's live video. Thanks, Terry. Good to have you back again. May the Force be with you. Blake, good night to you, my friend. Hope to see you soon. Jason, have a great night. And Mary, thank you so much. Safe travels. I appreciate that. And we'll see you in a couple of days at Jock Lindsay's. Awesome. Ross, thanks, brother. We'll see you. Mason, I will see you very soon, buddy. And Daniel, I will see you all tomorrow. Again, everybody, thanks so much for the support and all that great stuff. It's so fun. Chris, I will definitely have a Dole Whip in your honor, my friend. Awesome. So good to see you. So good to see all of you in this amazing Star Wars community. I'm excited. I got to get up in a couple hours, and I think I'm just going to drive to the airport now. I'm just fired up. Let's go. Let's get this started. I'm going to bring everybody to Galaxy's Edge. Let's do it. Have a great one, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.